This is how I found out that one of the psychiatrists I was working under in the psych ward was corrupt. I was still fairly new to the job at this time being a technician. I would sit in on all the patient-doctor meetings so I can get a good basis of what certain medications were, how they worked, what the side effects were. And in these meetings, it would be the psychiatrist, the patient, usually a charge nurse, and a social worker, and then the tech can opt in, always opt in to be in there. So we had one patient stroll in, and she happened to be a very aggressive drug addict. She used meth and heroin, but she still had her looks because she was a fairly new user, maybe about a year and a half, but she was on it crazy. And so she was trying to get some meds to wean herself off of it, but she didn't want to get off stuff. She was definitely trying to milk things. But this is what happened. It's me in the room, the charge nurse, and the psychiatrist, no social worker. The patient walks in, she sits, she's like, "Hey, doctor." Very seductive, very weird. Me and the charge nurse look at each other, we like, fuck, like what's going on? He keeping it P for professional. He's just like, "Hello, how are you doing? You can have a seat." And what she did next shocked everybody in the room. Well, not really the doctor, and y'all will see what I'm saying in a second. She gets up, she sits on his lap and starts stroking his face. She's like, "Did you get a new haircut, doctor?" Calling him by his name and stuff. "You look so good and so clean." And he's just sitting there taking it all in. He said, I'm like, "What y'all be doing outside of here?" He literally takes her meeting, the meeting, from his lap. And he says, "What can I do for you?" And she said, "Well, I would really like for you to increase my dosage because it's not really working. And it's just, I'm in so much pain, please." I'm shocked. I'm like, is this really happening? I look over at the charge nurse. She's looking down at her clipboard like, "Speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil." Doc says, "Okay, let me write the script." So he writes it, hands it to the charge nurse. She's off his lap by this time. And the charge nurse walks over to give it to the med nurse. And I get up and walk out the room. And it's like, what's understood don't need to be explained. I picked up on the silent language of like, "Oh, we're not supposed to say anything about this." I said, "Oh, this is what we doing?" Meanwhile, I'm new. I'm like, is this how this works? Is it this corrupt? Is this how it goes down? The answer, well, yes, this is actually not uncommon. I won't say that this is common practice, but this is something that gets done on the low a lot. That doctor also had over 700 patients, and he would go to multiple hospitals to see his patients for like 2 seconds apiece. Billing the insurance company, making hand over fist. You think it don't pay to be sick? You don't think it pays to be mentally messed up? You think everybody that got a diagnosis actually got that diagnosis? And clearly them insurance checks ain't the only way some psychiatrists are getting paid. Right in front of my face. Right in front of my face. But I'm glad I was silent about it because it helped me learn the culture of psych facilities, and it did help me to become more effective. Because I'm thinking, if this happening right in front of my face, what's happening under the water?